Welcome to the X Block.
Am I right, Marine? Sir, yes, sir! Then listen up.
You're listening to the X Block. I'm Jared, he's Caleb. Let's get into it. You are listening to the X Block Podcast, episode 36. I'm Jared, and I'm here with Caleb.
Heyo.
And this is the world's #1 Xbox podcast.
Probably. And this week, Jaron, I'm tired.
Dude, we're tired every week now that we record again at night. We somehow we managed to move our time up to a realistic time, and then we've slowly descended further and further back into the pits of where we used to record.
We're not even human beings at this point. Like, Jared, oh yeah, you want to record at 12 a.m. tonight? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll record at 12 a.m. And then we started recording at 12:36 a.m. You know, what a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, dude, it's a dark world. It literally, because it's night.
Yeah, this is stupid.
All right, Caleb. Well, we might as well hop right into the show. I know I didn't let you get your clothes on this time.
Yeah, you didn't, dude. You know, last week it was too abrupt, but this time you let me just bitch a little bit about how tired I am.
There you go.
All right, Jaron, I'm gonna flip it on you. What have you been playing this week?
Oh, what have I been playing, dude? I'm starting.
We kept it fresh.
All right, well, I've been playing Halo with you.
Whoa.
That's been the #1 thing I've been playing. I've also played a bit of Psychonauts 2 that we will see on the stream. However, in your listening ears, it has already happened, but in our talking mouths, it hasn't.
What was that? You said in your listening ears. And then you said in our talking mouth. What the hell does that mean?
It means whatever it's gonna be, Caleb.
It's so late. Okay, so I'll explain. Jaren streamed on Sunday, and you're hearing this on Monday. So you can check out the VOD on Twitch at _XBlock. Yeah, wait, is it XBlock?
Yeah.
Almost
it's
fucked
not
up.
XBlock.
Started choking there. Yeah, I was like, all right, _XBlock on Twitch. You can check it out there. The VOD should be up, but regardless, Jaren streamed and you missed it. I kept telling you to follow the XBlock on Twitch, but no, dude. And I also can't talk tonight, so that's great. But anyway, Jaron, what'd you stream again? I already forgot. I don't care.
Psychonauts 2.
All right. Was it great? Did you have a good time?
I have no idea. It could be terrible. I assume it's good based on all its Game of the Year nominations.
Go see Jaron get naked on stream over at _XBlock on Twitch.
Yeah, dude, I'm playing in a hot tub.
Maybe. I don't know if I'm going to watch it, Jaron. I'll think about it. I don't know about you.
Yeah, so it's been pretty much Halo, and then we played a bit of Minecraft Dungeons. We banged out an achievement in that, beating it on Apocalypse 5, you know? Just some nasty stuff.
It's the name of the achievement is post-apocalypse that we got. Literally the name.
Yeah, that was, and I don't think you've really been playing much else. Like, I know you've played Sea of Thieves for guides, but we both haven't really been playing much solo stuff.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna let you in a little secret. I played a few games, Jaron, in my time. Want me to let you in?
Yeah, dude, tell me.
All right, I'm gonna let you in. All right. Tetris Effect Connected. I played like 2 games of that just because I wanted to. You ever played Tetris Effect Connected, Jaron?
No.
Have you really not?
Mm-mm.
You know it's in Game Pass, right? You can play that. You really haven't played that? So you like Sayonara Wild Hearts for the music, how it kind of melds music and game together, but you haven't played Tetris Effect?
No.
You have some short answers, Jaron, but you gotta play Tetris Effect Connected, man. Why haven't you played it?
I have short answers for a short man.
Rock Band 4 is the other game I've been playing. I played a few songs on there, Jaron, still got it. You know how you go back to Rock Band? You're like, I haven't played Rock Band in like 5 months. And then you go back and play it, and you get a high score on a song that you played, back in your prime. And you're like, dude, I'm still fucking good. Like on Expert, because I don't play not on Expert, Jaron. I'm not a bitch,
Yeah.
But we were talking about Rock Band last week. And I was like, I gotta hit up the Rock Band. So I pulled out my old guitar, that I can play with the buttons on it. And I fucking buttoned away on that bitch. And, rocked out.
Yeah, dude. I love Rock Band. I love me some Rock Band. I could definitely go back and play some. I just haven't played some in a while, but I there's some new DLC songs that are out that I might jump in and buy.
Yeah, dude, they added Paralyzed by Sueco.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, dude, so I got that. It's okay. It's an okay song, but I did buy it because they were advertising it, and I'm like, well, you got me. You know how I'm not usually like, I don't really get befuzzled. Is that a word, Jaron? Befuzzled?
Befuzzled?
I don't get befuzzled by advertising. But they got me with that one. I got befuzzled on that one. And then I've been playing Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. That got a season, I don't know what season they're on, but it got an update and they had a new operator. Don't care about the new operator, but they updated some of the UI and it's a bit cleaner and smoother. So you would think, that they would finally nail down the UI and all those things for Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege by now, considering it came out in 2016 or some shit. Turns out, no, still updating it. And so that game's still fun. I like it. I'm good at it sometimes I'm not. And I think I don't know what, I think they reset the ranks. So I guess we still need to get ranked. We haven't been playing a lot because friends have been busy, but that's a good time. And then Minecraft Dungeons with Jaren, playing that, trying to grind out some of those levels, some of those DLC levels. Halo Infinite, playing ranked, Jaren. I got ranked for the one that's the open lobby, because there's two ways you can get ranked. You can get ranked on open lobby, or you can get ranked with solo duo. I don't know what the difference is, but in the open lobby one, I just got platinum. I don't know what that is.
Ooh.
It's platinum 4 or 5. So I don't know. It's higher than middle, but my teammates are the reason I always lose. Jaren, how often do I get top of the team and top of the match in the game? How often?
I think
when we play?
every game I've played with you.
Every game. But in ranked, Jaren, those people in there, dude, sometimes you get teams and you're like, what the fuck? So I don't know. I'm a little disappointed about platinum, to be honest with you, but I did get platinum. Sea of Thieves got a season 5 update. Dude, just a lot of shit. I've actually, see how much I've been playing this week? Just a ton. Some of it isn't even probably worth talking about, but Sea of Thieves is the #1 game that I've been playing and writing guides on over at gameper.com. But Sea of Thieves Season 5 got a huge update, a bunch of quality life improvements that we're going to go over later, so I'm not going to belabor that point right now. And then finally, Jaren, the one you've been waiting for, Halo Spartan Assault on Windows 10.
Ooh!
Yeah, I know, right? So they're shutting down those, I don't know if they're shutting down the servers. I guess they're shutting down the multiplayer servers and other things for Halo, all the 360 games, and then Halo Spartan Assault and Spartan Strike went on January 13th, I believe. So I'm just going through and just trying to get as many achievements in those games as I can. I don't know what achievements will or won't work, because I don't think that Halo Spartan Assault and Spartan Strike on Windows 10 have achievements that are co-op related. I haven't really looked too deeply into them, but it only has 250 gamer score. But I'm just kind of playing those in the lead up to Halo Infinite, going through a bit of Halo, even though these are some top-down, RTS kind of games, I believe. Or not real-time strategy, rather. Dual shooter? What is it? Dual stick? Twin stick shooter. Nailed it. Dude, first try. All right, so yeah, I've been playing that and grinding achievements, and that's finally it. And it sounds like a lot, but really, most of those games I only played for an hour. So it's actually not as much as it seems, but I did kind of touch it. I touched more things than I usually do. You know what I mean, Jared? I touched more things.
I know what you mean. The way I look at women is just like twin stick shooters, dude, top down.
I'm not responding to that, Jared.
All right, Caleb, I guess we should hop into Outside the Box, huh?
Hit me with it.
I'm thinking outside the box,
where we cover all the news you need to know outside the Xbox community. The first in Outside the Box, PlayStation is planning a Game Pass competitor, Caleb, and this subscription service is called Spartacus. Now, this article comes from George Yang over at GameSpot, and this is originally been reported by Bloomberg and Jason Schreier and his many sources.
Full-time activist, part-time journalist Jason Schreier. Yeah, broke this one.
Yeah, dude, full-time union champion, where literally he has a 0% success rate at getting the unions.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. He likes to be a journalist sometimes, and he actually, to his credit, does a good job breaking PlayStation stories. It seems like he has the drop on that shit,
Oh yeah, dude, he's out there at breaking stories left and right. He's a great journalist.
And what's this one about, Jaren?
This one is about PlayStation finally coming to the table to compete with Xbox Game Pass. Now, Caleb, there are issues with this, and I think I texted you that I had a hot take on it.
It sounds like you have some thoughts on it by the way you're talking, and I want you to hit me with all of those thoughts.
Details aren't finalized, but the service will reportedly have 3 tiers. The first tier will retain existing PlayStation Plus benefits, and the second tier will allow players to access a large selection of PS4 titles with PS5 ones eventually. The third and highest tier will include extended demos, game streaming, and a library of legacy from PS1, PS2, PS3, and even the dreaded PSP, hacked all to shit. Vita games are not really surprisingly, absent from the reported lineup.
Yeah, people assume this is from difficulty with mapping touch controls, is what it says here, which makes sense. And so, yeah, this Bloomberg broke the story. They're like, yo, Scoop, our sources say It's been reported now that Sony working on that Game Pass competitor, and apparently they're going to keep the game, or the name rather, PlayStation Plus, but get rid of the PlayStation Now naming. Like, throw that away, apparently. And they're just going to, reportedly, I should say. And they're just going to bundle that all into one, and then have 3 tiers, and they're going to give you, I guess, backwards compatibility?
Yeah, the free backwards compatibility, you got to pay for it.
Yeah, so when they say PS3 games, potentially, Jaren, do they mean like native, or they mean like this cloud shit that's in PS Now, where you can play PS3
Probably
games?
the cloud shit. There's no way they're going to reverse engineer and emulate it like Xbox did.
Because that'd be one of the only cool things they could do with this, is, just from my perspective, was be like, announce full backwards compatibility with PS3 games, and as part of their big kind of streaming, or not streaming, but subscription Game Pass competitor kind of bundle that they're going for here. But I want to hear what your thoughts are, Jaren, because I know you have a hot take.
Dog shit. Useless, pointless, not even an actual response. Might as well have just done nothing.
Jaren, you sound like a fucking Xbox fanboy, my dog. Why do you think that, Jaren? You fucking fanboy, Phil Spencer riding a pony? You know why?
You know what EA has, Caleb?
What does EA have, Jaren?
They get the games in the service. New games, they are a couple months after release, but they come relatively quickly. You know what Ubisoft has, Caleb?
They have a subscription service?
Yeah, with games that come out the day that the game launches.
As we're recording this, it's already kind of leaked, I guess, that Mass Effect Legendary Edition is coming to EA Play soon.
Yeah, and Xbox has Game Pass, where the games that are brand new launch in the service. Is PlayStation going to do that? No. So what the fuck's the point of the service?
Yeah, they say owners will be able to pay a monthly fee to play classic and modern games from PlayStation catalog. The service will most likely be available on PlayStation 4 as well as PlayStation 5, so that's most likely. And again, these are reports, so nothing here is confirmed yet. We're talking about this based on the reports that it is going to happen, but we'll see if anything about that changes moving forward. But yeah, they say plus benefit. So the first tier will retain existing PlayStation Plus benefits, and the second tier will allow players to access a large selection of PS4 titles with PS5 ones eventually. So I'm kind of with you, Jaren. Like, if I were a PlayStation fan, I guess if you were super into the PlayStation ecosystem, this might be something you want. If you hadn't played, a bunch of games on the service, we have to see what the games lineup is, and I would like to hear from Sony what they have to say regarding how they view the service and how they want to, like, what they want to add to it and kind of the approach they're taking. Since it's Sony, it's probably gonna be shit, because that's what they do. They make great games, and from time to time a good controller, and then they just fuck everything else about their service in the ass. So we'll see. But I'm not super excited about. I wouldn't be excited about this anyway. I don't have a PlayStation 5. Had a PlayStation 2 and 3, so I had those. But now, dude, even if I had my, a PlayStation 5, Jaren, you know what I don't think I could play easily? My back catalog of PS3 games. Because I guess I'd have to buy them again, huh?
Dude, I like that there's not even a fucking tier 4 that just has the games come out at launch. Like, even if you're going to charge some price for it, it's because they know they can't do that, because then it'll be more than Xbox's and they'll look dumb. So they're just not going to do it.
Yeah, Sony as a company doesn't have Big Daddy Microsoft to, like, eat the cost of a service where they eat into their first party sales. Especially with stuff like God of War selling 20 million units in its lifetime, and Spider-Man selling a shit ton of all these other games. They're like, Sony cannot take out that full, 100% cut or rip that they get off all these first party games. So yeah, unless they're adding stuff in there, like, is this going to be on PC too? Are they going to have this service, you think, on PC?
Well, they have PlayStation Now on PC, but then PlayStation Plus wouldn't be relevant. So it would be a weird thing to give to PC, because half of the tiers wouldn't work. Yeah, I want to see how
that works. If you get it if you get everything included for both PlayStation and PC, I think that'd be pretty cool. But I don't know how that would work. I have no idea how that would work. And I don't know what games are in the service, so I can't super judge it yet. Although it seems like, based on these reports, a lot of PS5 games are going to be absent, and a lot new titles aren't going to launch into it. So, I don't know. It may be enticing for some people. We're not really PlayStation, like a podcast or really people over here. So, and that's kind of is that kind of our takes on it, Jaren? Kind of, eh.
Yeah, my take's eh. If they matched Microsoft, I'd buy a PlayStation tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be a good call. I would recommend it at that, actually, if they did that. I would be like, yo, go buy PlayStation. Just just get a PlayStation and an Xbox if you can afford it,
Yeah.
Why not?
But that's not going to happen. So we might as well hop over to another story, also written by George Yang, except at IGN this time.
Oh, so he's freelancer.
Yeah.
Dude, he's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
George Yang. Oh, I thought they were both IGN.
No.
George is out there hitting bitches, dude. He's fucking hitting everybody,
But I guess we might as well talk about the actual story as much as I love praising.
I just want to talk about George
Yang.
Yang, Jaron. Come on, man. He's a homie.
George Yang is the homie. You know what? We shouted out to him last time, but shout out to George Yang.
Dude, go read George Yang's shit, man. Go support George Yang. I don't know him, but he seems like a great guy.
Yeah, I like his smile and his picture.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto parent company Take-Two Interactive has hit Hazelight Studios' game It Takes Two with a trademark claim. Records indicate that Hazelight has seemingly been forced to abandon ownership of the game's name.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess I can give a bit of more of a rundown here. Joseph Ferris, the game creator who made It Takes Two, which is that EA game that came out, that co-op game that Jaron and I love. We talk about it, or at least I talk about it on our, 5 favorite games of all time?
Yep.
That actually came up, and if you want to know why and you think that's stupid, go listen to the episode and leave a comment, idiot. But that came up, and it's just an indie studio that I think works with EA as a publisher, and Take-Two Interactive, who, runs Rockstar and all these other, the publisher for Rockstar and all these other things, filed this thing where they're like, yo, you cannot, trademark that, apparently. I'm a layman when it comes to legal stuff. But they're like, nah, dude, Take-Two, that's us. So you can't name It Takes Two. So I guess it relinquishes all rights to the name It Takes Two.
Yeah, it means they can't monetize it for other properties.
Yeah, and to give a little bit more context to this, so Nibble, who is a very prominent kind of data and leak kind of tweeter in the games industry, I don't really know how best to describe his content. He's the guy to go to for info. And so I went to him on Twitter and he tweeted about this. And then Mike Futter, at Futterish on Twitter, said, the trademark conflict means that Hazelight can't protect the name, and that not that they will be forced to change it. They could change it if they want to protect the name, but honestly, it's probably not worth it to them to do that. Take-Two isn't saying that Hazelight is infringing, but it doesn't want them to be able to protect the name and put it out of Take-Two's reach since it is so close to their company's name. Imagine if they wanted to make their company motto, it's Take-Two. That slogan might be too close to the game name, which would be protected. Take-Two isn't suing anyone, but it is objecting to trademarks that include or are close to its company and division names. It is probably overreaching in some of these instances, and that's where it concludes. And then someone says, so let's say they wanted to make It Takes Two too. Are they still allowed to use the brand going forward, even if not protected? And then Mike Futter says, the issue here is they objected to the trademark. They could still use the name, but so could anyone else without Hazelight being able to do anything about it. And then someone said, I don't 100% agree with your take, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then Mike Futter says, I think there is an optics thing in play here that would prevent them from going that far with doing crazy things about it, but I don't disagree that they could do it. Anyway, it goes on, but yeah, it's a bit more complicated than some people make it out to make it seem. They're just, making it where, I guess, I don't know, they're looking to make it where they can defend their naming rights if they wanted to use something like that with their company. But it's very legal based. I'm sure Hogue Law has a video on this, Jaron. You think so? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either. And also the way Hazelight makes games, I really don't see them making a sequel. The game is very self-contained and kind of ends.
Yeah, they don't have a sequel to Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
Yeah.
Yeah, or anything like that. I don't think maybe that was a Hazelight game, but that was a Joseph Ferris game. He doesn't seem to make sequels, really. And so I wouldn't expect one. But the reason this blew up in the industry, kind of the significance of the story, if you're saying, Caleb, Jaron, why are you talking about fucking trademarks and shit? And it's basically because people are like, Take-Two, the reason this is important, or kind of blowing up, is because it looks as though, and kind of is that way, that giant conglomerate Take-Two is bullying Hazelight for fucking It Takes Two for no goddamn reason. And so they just kind of look like pieces of shit.
Where's the EA help?
The EA help? I don't know.
I thought that's why they were partnered with them.
Well, there's probably a lot of stuff going on in the background that we don't know about, and I think they have said, I think Hazelight has said they hope this stuff gets resolved.
Yeah, they have.
In private disputes and things, but there's probably more information. This is just what we know, and it just kind of looks like Take-Two being assholes. But I guess they didn't diddle anybody, so that's good. That's our standard for the industry now.
They're just out there diddling everyone's financials. They're suing modders, they're suing everybody, and then in this one they're just you can't trademark that because we might want to use it in the future, and it's close to our trademarked thing.
Our running thing, Jaren, in this show is who is the, out of all the major video game publishers, who is the most ass? And man, has it had ups and downs as we've done this podcast.
It
And
really
you're
has.
like, well, It Takes Two was on the higher end. And, but now it's like, okay, they fucked up. I mean, it's maybe not, it kind of is their fault, but they fucked up the Grand Theft Auto trilogy remasters or whatever the hell, remakes, I guess, if they're on different engines. And then, with this shit, them bullying one of my favorite developers I kind of get their reason, but there is no really reason to do it. I don't think, in my opinion, but I'm not a legal expert. It's just like, yeah, you guys kind of seem like assholes. And, I don't know, Jaren, how did EA just, like, if you don't play sports games, like I don't, it just seems like EA's out there hustling. Like EA's the boys now. EA used to be the most shit. And I'm like, dude, EA has fucked me the least, or at least fucked people the least, it seems, on a literal sense, because of these diddlers at Activision and Ubisoft. It's like EA has fucked me and others the least in the past, year.
I think the issue we've run into now is Activision's run so far away with the ball that, everyone else just looks fine by comparison. Takes Two still sucks. Ubisoft sucks more than Take-Two
at this point with all the diddlers.
But Activision is so far gone that it's not even a contest anymore. They're just the biggest pieces of shit in the whole gaming industry. And it's going to take so much for someone to come close. And I honestly hope nobody comes close, because that would require terrible things to happen.
All of the big publishers out there, please stop racing to the bottom. Please stop. Stop being ass. Stop making me have to look at whether you diddled anybody to be my thermometer of whether you're a good company or not. Please stop. Leave Hazelight alone. Leave him alone. That's all I have to say.
All right. Well, we might as well hop into the X Block, our namesake.
Listen, it's what you hearing. Listen.
That was a good one.
I went a little extra that time, yeah.
X gon' give it to you.
Calm down.
Wait for you to get it on your own. First we're gonna rock, then we're gonna roll.
Copyright strike.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, my bad. It sounds similar.
In the first story, Microsoft has detailed Xbox Game Pass cloud usage and the significance of touch controls. And this comes from Jez Corden over at Windows Central.
Jez, what up?
And this is kind of one that I picked as the overall article to touch on different things. But it's more been the shift towards cloud that is happening in Xbox.
Yeah, so what was happening here? Was there some sort of conference? Because in this Windows Central article, which you guys should all go read by Jez Corden, he says, on Wednesday, he was talking about earlier this week, Microsoft announced new clarity algorithms to reduce pixelization on cloud streams across the web and on consoles. And I was like, what the hell is that about? And they said, detailed on the Azure Game Stack blog, Microsoft detailed how 20% of cloud players are using touch exclusively to play titles on Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And I was like, yo, how are they getting into the damn Azure blog? This shit's just dropping out of nowhere. But can you tell me about this cloud gaming shit, Jaren? What's going on with this story?
So the first thing that they touch on, the cloud streams across the web and consoles to reduce pixelation. They changed the way that it only works through the Windows browser on PC. It doesn't work on phones and stuff. They found a way to make the image look clearer. It's basically a clarity boost to the overall image. And
okay,
so that's one thing. And then Microsoft is revealing some new stats and information on why developers should seriously consider adding touch controls to games that they put in Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And that is because, like Caleb said, 20% of cloud players are exclusively, not just sometimes, are exclusively using touch controls to play titles on their phones on Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. And I wonder if that's in other countries where touch controls are more of a thing. And that it also jumps on the back of specific dev kits that have been put out by a company called, I believe it's Qualcomm and Razer, who are putting out Snapdragon-powered gaming platforms essentially for phones that are mobile that are specifically built to make things for cloud gaming. And Microsoft has also gone on to explain that games like Dragon Quest, Hades, Minecraft Dungeons, Yakuza Like a Dragon, surprisingly, and Scarlet Nexus are a few titles that are seeing almost a third of users exclusively engaging with touch controls. So
Yeah, this is like that's a huge number, man. That's like I mean, it makes sense because all these phone bitches out here, but like for me, if I were to play on my phone, I would just bring, a wireless controller. But I get why a lot of people would not use or maybe even have that on to play something on the go.
yeah, so this could open up an entirely different, almost like team of people working at Microsoft. Like I could see them basically start a porting studio that ports games from their developers to the ability to use like touch controls and stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good point. They kind of talk here about that. They say in the post, Microsoft stated how developers can leverage its Azure tech to create cloud-aware games using a set of new and existing APIs that offer cloud experiences with minimal code changes. Microsoft recognizes that developing console titles is a massive investment and has tried to make it as easy as possible for an existing Xbox game to become a capable Xbox cloud game. And then they said later on, Microsoft gave some examples of the constraints touch brings to Xbox games. And this is what I wanted to kind of touch on a bit, Jaron. They said, naturally, touch games are less tactile and offer fewer buttons to play with, unless you want to clutter up the screen with every single button on an Xbox controller. To circumvent these potential problems, games like Sea of Thieves have contextual action buttons, replacing the standard ABXY layout with specific actions, complete with default iconography, and then games like Hades take it a step further with customized art for their touch controls. And so, yeah, the point they bring up here about developing games with touch controls in mind, and kind of even if you plan that to be a main thing, unless you use some sort of contextual kind of touch features and you go in and maybe you have like a port studio that develops them exclusively for that, you would limit your potential, I guess, use of a controller or something with all the buttons you would use on a controller. You would limit that with your touch control capability because everything would clutter the screen. But then they also show like the Surface Duo phones. Here in this article, you guys should go take a look at Windows Central. They have the ability to expand touch controls onto a separate display. So it's like a Nintendo DS where like the top display is like the game. And then like the bottom, they have this other kind of bottom half Nintendo DS looking thing where like the bottom half of the DS would be where all the touch controls are. So that's a potential solution. But yeah, I wonder if we're going to see like an expanse or even like how much, I guess, in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see more, studios come. Like if they're going to buy a couple of studios or a studio to try to port and work on making games easily playable on the cloud, with controls and all that. It's a good point.
I would assume that's a foregone conclusion for first-party games because Microsoft is always at the forefront of pushing their own technology. So I assume that they'll have probably a studio within the next year or two that is focused on porting games like Starfield, which we're going to talk about next, or bigger games like that over to phones.
Yeah, and then that seems like a good call, and we'll see how that plays out in the next couple years, because obviously they're not buying them tomorrow, so we're just kind of speculation at this point. But they're obviously looking at touch controls, and it's a big revelation that 20% of users, sometimes a third, use touch controls for these games. And it's like, well, we should have seen that coming, but also that's like, okay, well, with those numbers in, how are they going to react to that? And then, like we said, aside from that, a clarity boost is coming for xCloud. Is it in being tested right now?
No, it's
clarity
out.
Boost for certain games, or it's out completely.
It's out on the Windows web browser.
Well, I was reading this GameSpot article from November 30th, and they say in here you have to download Microsoft Edge Canary and then confirm you are a Microsoft Edge Canary. You are in Microsoft Edge Canary. You got to navigate to these settings to make sure you're in a version this or later, and then you have to enable Clarity Boost, and you have to like 9 different steps, dude.
Yeah,
and and the images they use aren't too noticeable either. So I don't even know if that's worth it or what the hell's going on there. Fortunately for me, I don't play a lot of games on cloud, but if I were like commuting a lot and like in a different area and other things, I would probably. So I don't know. I would have to talk to people who are kind of in the know. Like, yo, what are you feeling with the Clarity Boost? What are you feeling with that? How's it looking? How are we feeling?
Yeah, and like they said even in that article, most of the people who use cloud use it on their phones and use touchscreen. So this wouldn't even help them get a Clarity Boost.
I was going to say, how much clarity do you get when you're on a phone?
Yeah, you can't use it. So you would have to use...
It's got to be for people with TVs.
Yeah, essentially, you'd have to use this through like your PC or PCs plugged into TVs.
One of the good things that Jared and I thought about this for us, like with cloud gaming, a lot of people who game at home, it doesn't really affect them. It's really for people on the go more. And it's kind of Microsoft circumventing them even needing a kind of handheld device, like a Nintendo DS. I brought that up a lot, but kind of thing. But Jaren, like you and I write articles, and sometimes if I want to go grab a screenshot and something, I may not want to reinstall it again. But you and I can just load it up if it's on Game Pass and it has cloud.
That's true.
You just load it up in the cloud and take a screenshot. So if you're a writer for games and guides and you need screenshots, boy, let me tell you about xCloud or game. What is it? Xbox Cloud Gaming now.
Yeah, dude.
It's a very specific case sample.
It is a very specific case sample, and yeah, just the ability to be out on the go playing games is definitely something that people can relate to and people like want to be able to do. And there is talk that Microsoft is actually working on a Nintendo Switch kind of Steam Deck like competitor, but it's in the very early phases.
Yeah, I think I read that this week too. Yeah, that they're just like kind of, we're looking at it. We'll see. But I'm more excited, Jaren, for what they do in 5 to 10 years with cloud gaming and how they, innovate on that. But in the meantime, Jaren, I want to learn about Starfield.
Perfect segue, Caleb, because the next thing, like we mentioned before, that we're talking about is Starfield. And this is from IGN, written by Matt Purslow. And Starfield is about grounded exploration in a more realistic universe. Now, just that quote, Caleb, has made me more excited because I've always wanted to really get into that kind of space exploration vibe. But we always have some kind of crazy thing thrown in. And I assume we'll still have aliens and stuff in this and all that kind of thing. But it's usually less of like a serious tone. And the exact quote that came out of this was from art director Matt Carafano. And he said, "This is a more grounded game and a grounded setting about exploration. It's got a more realistic, science-based backing to it."
I was going to say, yeah, this was talked about in the Starfield developer diary that revealed new concept art. And yeah, it was just this thing. I guess it's on YouTube. And they just like Todd Howard and these boys come out and talk about, Starfield. And that man is like, yo, it's more, was it art director? Yeah, Matt Carafano, whatever his name is it's more grounded setting and exploration, which we kind of got from the images that we've already seen from this game. And then I think they released like 25 more. Am I wrong about that? Like 25 more pieces of concept art?
Yeah. They released a shitload. I saw them all like laid out, and the game looks great. It looks realistic. And I really am wondering where this, like, I need to see gameplay from this game because I like really want to know what it is because I'm very intrigued because it seems quite different from, like, you could say that Fallout is a grounded universe, but there's still lots of crazy things going on, like a lot of over the top characters and a lot of just crazy stuff happening. And if this game is more based in science, I'm really interested in how that's going to play out in kind of creating your character and progressing through the world.
Yeah, and I highly recommend, I'm with you, and I highly recommend everyone go look at the concept art and screenshots and things, either at IGN or wherever the hell Bethesda posted this shit. But IGN has a good, 25 images here, and you're like, yo, this shit looks, if the concept art turns out, if the game turns out to look similar to the concept art, you're like, yeah, it literally just looks like in, I don't know, dude, 2,000 years or 1,000 or 5, whatever it is. It's like if you just went into space and just kind of explored these worlds. And that's the theme they're going for. Like, they really want you to feel like you're just a person in the real world, kind of exploring civilizations and planets in space and kind of really capturing that feel. They have this one, like, ice planet, too, I think, in this set of screenshots where I'm like, yo, I want to visit that ice planet. I don't know which one it is, but is it image? I don't know which one it is. It's in here. But there's one dude, I'm like, I want to go to that ice planet so bad, Jared. It's 21 to 25. So if you want to go find that one, it's dope. And then Howard, he says, he points out that it is a universe, not just a game, and then he says this is how that affects their design process. IGN goes on to say, the video includes a lot of concept art of astronaut food and other mundane things that help make the world of Starfield more believable and authentic. And they say he also discusses that culture is important, and so things like toys, bedtime stories, art, and entertainment are all woven into the world. And Jaren, that's what makes a good game, man. Like, that's what we talk about when you're like building a universe and building a lore to set your game in and not just kind of going in. And that seems like the Starfield, they're actually having these little nuances that a lot of, Elder Scrolls and Fallout all have that make them feel like actual fleshed out universes, which is kind of Bethesda's strong point there.
Yeah.
But they say they don't get too far away from Skyrim and Fallout. Almost said Skull-out. But they say, IGN says, but compared to Skyrim's epic fantasy setting and Fallout's retropunk apocalypse, Starfield will offer a different approach to how we will explore. But then they say, or Todd Howard says, quote, but it's not too different from Skyrim and Fallout. IGN says, Howard notes that despite the more grounded scientific approach, the way the world works will still be similar to that seen in the Elder Scrolls games. And this is a Todd Howard quote. The mechanics of the world are entirely different, but there are similarities. I think that those are the things we like. We like playing first person. We like having all the coffee cups. We like being able to touch everything. Jaren, you like being able to touch everything?
Yep.
And then he says, those moments make the whole thing believable. Being able to watch the sunset and nighttime come and just sit there and watch the world go by seems like it's not gameplay, but it is vital to how you feel through the rest of it. And Jaren, they're speaking my language with this.
Oh, yeah. And one thing that they were speaking my language with, Caleb, one thing that I think is really important to touch on, Todd said, we always have that step out moment into the world. And they do have that. Like when you come out of the vault for the first time, or when you come out of like the sewer in Oblivion and see the world. And he says, I like to say that Starfield has 2 step out moments. And
literally
that
200%.
That has me really excited because I'm assuming the first one is walking out of whichever planet you start on and seeing the world and being like, wow, this is a beautiful like world. It's so lively. And then the second step out moment is like when you get in your spaceship and you enter into space and then the game just says, all right, where you want to go?
And you're like, what the fuck? And you're like, yeah, which planet, bitch? And you're like, oh no. Oh, where do I go?
Yeah.
But that's what the game's about. It's about exploration. You know, it seems I wasn't as excited about Starfield, especially with that first trailer. Was it from E3 this year? That was that trailer? Or was it? Yeah, it was, right? Because they announced it for next November. But I'm like, the more they talk about it instead of showing me that dumb trailer, I'm like getting more excited.
Yeah, dude, I'm hyped. And you know who else is hyped for this, Caleb?
Who?
Probably all the people who bought Series S's on Black Friday.
Who bought a Series S, Jaren? Who?
Apparently everybody, because the Xbox Series S dominated PS5 and Xbox Series X at retail during Black Friday. And this is from Matt Brown over at Windows Central.
So, because we talked about some of this a bit before in other episodes, but it's kind of all coming together here. So yeah, the Series S seemed to have outsold the other consoles on Black Friday. Obviously, there's a chip shortage that makes it harder to manufacture enough PS5s and Xbox Series X's, and easier to manufacture the Series S based on its components. They mentioned that in this article.
Yep.
Number 2, Xbox, a lot of the Series X's that they would sell, a lot of those do get manufactured and go into their cloud servers on the back end.
Yep.
People don't realize that. A lot of people don't realize that Microsoft allots a specific or a certain percentage of their Series X's to power the cloud backend on Series X's. So that's one of the reasons that it doesn't sell as well. Number 3, it's cheaper. It's $300. And I know PlayStation has a discless PS5. I'm pretty sure they make fewer of those.
It's
though,
impossible
than the
to get.
versions. Yeah, so so it's not like the $400 versus $300. It's like, yeah, sometimes, but oftentimes it's the $500 one that's available. And so all of these factors kind of coalesce, and somehow Microsoft is manufacturing a lot of Series S's, and people can't find these other consoles, and people just want to get their... It's what I've said, or what I speculated before these things came out with this $300 price point. People are okay getting their kids and all these people for Christmas a new console that's $300. Like, that is who it's for. It's not for me and you. It's for parents and grandmas who go to, Black Friday, and they're like, well, I got to get Jimmy a new PS5. And they're like, well, we don't have a PS5. And they're like, well, I got to get Jimmy something. And they get Jimmy the Series S. I've had like 2 or 3 people ask me about the Series S this Black Friday. Like, should I get a Series X or X? And I'm like, I kind of want a PS5. And they're like, yeah, if you want a PS5 and you want to play with us and you want to get the Xbox experience, just get a Series S, man. $300. It's low entry point. They're more available. You can find them sometimes, So what do you think about like that whole thing, Jaren? Do you think I'm accurate or not really?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I also think it definitely takes into account that at least here, there are just far more Series S's on the shelves before Black Friday started. And like you said, it's impossible to get a PS5 and an Xbox Series X, especially during this time. And I think some people at this point have gone through one full Christmas without them. I think some people, on top of the grandmas and the moms and the dads, have just given up. And they're like, I'll grab a Series S for $300 and I'll play it until the other consoles are more available.
Yeah, they're like, Walmart is letting their Plus members get theirs first. I'm not doing all that shit. Let me look on eBay. Oh, $800. Never mind. I guess I'm getting a Series S.
Yeah, and I think people just go in, they see them on the shelves, they're like, hey, this is the closest thing to a next-gen console for now. I might not have a 4K 120 hertz TV, so what's even the point of me getting the Series X? I might as well just hop on the Series S.
And it really does look like these things are going to be supply constrained until at least fall 2022, if not later, to where demand is finally satiated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just a $300 entry point, so people are just fine with it, and it's available. So I think we kind of hit that nail on the head, but it's kind of crazy. It's not entirely, because there's a pandemic and they didn't know this going in. But it kind of came to fruition to be that the Series S, kind of like I thought it might be, is the Christmas, console. Like it is what it's for.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
The last two things outside of Game Pass news are both just updates. One's for Halo Infinite and one's for Sea of Thieves. One thing that is happening for Halo Infinite is Game Pass Ultimate people are gonna be getting extra XP, which I think is kind of fucking nonsense, if I'm honest, and they probably shouldn't be paywalling XP boosts behind Game Pass Ultimate, but this is the world we live in. I'm not going to give Xbox a pass on it, but I don't agree with it.
I'm gonna take this from you quick. We're not gonna linger on it. There's also a thing that came out today as of the Friday, what is it, Saturday now, I guess, that we're recording this, where they're going to be adding dedicated playlist to Halo Infinite. They're going to be adding, I think, Free For All, SWAT, thank God, and there was another one on there too. Do you remember what it was? Fiesta. Okay, so they're going to be adding those dedicated playlists. They say their plan is to get it done. It's not going to be ready for December 8th, which is the launch day. They plan to get it out by the end of the year, like before the end of December. And then beyond that, like a dedicated Slayer playlist and all the other dedicated stuff, said it would have to be after like the end of the year, like next year. So I just got to say, man, here's how I feel about Halo Infinite real quick. They nailed the most important thing, which is the gameplay. It's super fun to play. Everyone loves it. It's great. They nailed it. It's a fun shooter.
It works.
But in 343 style, they fucked up everything around that. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I was like, it's a beta. I hopefully when December 8th launches, they'll add like a bunch more playlists and have this shit ready. They can add a couple key fixes here and there, and it'll be more of a fleshed out game. Turns out, even with an extra year and the campaign being the main problem, dude, this shit was not ready. And its only saving graces are that it was free to play and that it's,
it's good.
What was I saying? Yeah, good. It's good. It's fun. So it's free to play and it's fun. So you're like, all right, I guess since it's free, you didn't really fuck me because it's free. But it's like, it's still the best shooter this year, frankly. But it's just like, why?
Yeah. And if the campaign hits, then it'll still be looked back on as a great Halo game because it'll eventually get the features.
If it's anything, boys, we've waited for Halo Infinite this long. Turns out you still got a lot to look forward to in like the next year or two as they continuously update this bitch.
Same with Cyberpunk.
So, yeah, dude. People love that game, by the way. Selling really well. Or doing really well for Black Friday. Anyway.
Yeah, dude, it's killing it. And the last thing, Season 5 of Sea of Thieves. If you really want to know everything that's listed in this, we kind of just wanted to point it out that it's out and it's great and it added a lot of quality of life improvements to it. But if you want to know more about this, you can go and hit up Pure Xbox, or you can head over to GamePer and check out all Caleb's guides on it.
I'm writing a lot. It's basically a 3.0 update of the game. Shit ton of quality life improvements. Very great update. Super fun. Sea of Thieves is the best live service game on the market right now. Don't at me.
There you go. And the last in the X block, Game Pass news. Microsoft has actually been dropping surprise games. Last week, they just dropped Generation Zero and Townscaper out of nowhere. They were like, hey, more games. But in terms of the games that they announce, upcoming games include Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator.
I wanted you to say 2 at the end of that game.
Halo Infinite on December 8th, which everyone knows about. One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 on December 9th.
Darren, I'm on episode. I just finished the next batch of One Piece episodes. I'm on, I think, 757, episode 757 or 58.
They're on Video Game 4. And December 14th, Aliens Fireteam Elite comes out, which who knows, if Caleb and I ever get around to beating the games we are playing, we might hop on that. And then December 14th, Among Us comes to console.
Jaren likes Among Us.
Yeah, and that's all for the games that are coming to Game Pass. There are some games leaving, headlined by Man of Medan, but other than that, it's nothing too groundbreaking. If you want to see those, feel free to hop over to Pure Xbox, check them out.
It's not major, huh? Just the big ones, Man of Medan?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, and now we're going to move into Game Pass or Play. And like we said last week, we're doing it a bit differently for December. And we're actually going to tell you about games that you should be playing on Game Pass or Play and give our kind of recommendation for a game that's great, but is kind of like underserved by people on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm going to actually let Caleb start off because I want to know where he went on this, because there's a lot of games that he consistently plays, and I don't know if he's going to pick like one of those or if he's going to go off the board.
All right, Darren, are you ready for my pick right here?
Yeah.
All right. So here's what I'm going to pick, Jaren. Friggin' A Plague Tale: Innocence. That's kind of an underrated game, you think?
Yeah, and I don't think it's leaving because the sequels come into Game Pass at launch.
So there's not a lot of stuff like A Plague Tale Innocence that I've actually played. It's a French, I think it's a French developer who made it, but it's I think it is underserved, and I want people to play it before the next game comes out. Jaren, what do you think? You've played A Plague Tale Innocence. Did you enjoy your time when you played it a few years after it came out?
Yes. I played it with the quality of life improvements, and I played it with the graphical improvements. It looks beautiful. It's a great game, and I would recommend it to anybody.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know how long it's going to stay in Game Pass, but it is in Game Pass right now. And I think you should play, if you're into story games, it's not The Last of Us, but it's like that kind of vibe, but obviously a way smaller budget and in a different time period. It's just like it's your play as a girl, I don't even remember her name because it's all French, but she's taking care of this boy, Hugo. I remember his name because he wouldn't shut the fuck up. And it's about, how long would you say, Jaren? 15 hours to get through it, the story maybe?
Yeah, not too long. I would say between 12 and 15. You could push it if you're playing harder.
Good soundtrack, puzzle oriented, but it's also more of an action kind of stealth game with these plague rats. Great, yeah, I don't think I said great soundtrack. The visuals it's really surprisingly good for what is essentially an indie game that now is going to have what I imagine will be a phenomenal sequel, and it's on Game Pass right now. So that is my play for this special holiday Game Pass or Play segment, Jaren. Go play A Plague Tale Innocence and see if you like it. That's Caleb's pick.
Yeah, her name's Amicia, by the way.
That's why I remember, man. Amicia. I mean, it's a cool name. Don't get me wrong, but I wasn't going to remember that.
And yeah, the reason we decided to do this for the holidays was because a lot of people are going to be getting Xbox Series S's, as we saw, or getting Game Pass. And these are kind of the games that wouldn't be spun in Game Pass or Play because we've already played them. So we wanted to show that there are like quality titles on Game Pass, and we wanted to recommend some of the best ones.
Yeah, maybe some underappreciated ones.
Yeah, which is exactly where I'm taking mine from, Caleb. And that's Gears of War Tactics.
Oh, okay. So did you ever beat that game? Because I heard it's long.
I beat it. It has this thing where it expands and kind of lets you play forever to get all the achievements. Like you can play and like continue to level up and all that kind of stuff and do missions and send your squad out. It is very much an XCOM game, but it has the Gears of War feel added to it, and personally it's my favorite Gears of War game. I would much rather have a sequel to that game than any Gears of War project going forward, in my opinion. And I think if you're into turn-based strategy kind of games and games like XCOM and even Gears of War, I actually think it's
Wasteland,
any of that kind of stuff. Wasteland's another one that I think Caleb and I would both throw in here as a top pick, but I feel like that one we've talked about to death. So
we did. Yeah, that's true.
So that one, I felt like it was fair that everybody kind of knew we liked that one. But yeah, Gears of War Tactics, one of the best games I played this year. One of my favorites.
Is it it's a quality game, right? There's no bugs really.
Oh no,
it's really polished.
It works 100% all the way through.
Do you know if it's frame rate boosted? Is it 120 or is it 60?
I believe it's 60, but it's also turn-based strategy, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's not an FPS. I just didn't know. But yeah, that's a good pick because yeah, not everyone. A lot of people play the Gears games on Xbox, but Gears Tactics, you may have overlooked that unless you're a specific RTS or PC fan. So yeah, like Jaren said, I haven't played it, but everyone who played it and has played it that I saw says it's great and phenomenal. And so if you missed out, dude, just try it out. This is your Game Pass or gameplay for the holidays, man. Just try something out, dude. Jaren and I are both really up on both these games, man. Game Pass or gameplay, dude. You got to play Gears Tactics.
Dude, it's so underrated that even the PlayStation fans don't shit on it.
I actually know it's really good. I haven't played it, but I've only heard everyone who plays it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, so those are our 2 choices, Plague Tale Innocence, Gears of War Tactics, with a shout out to Wasteland 3.
Special honorable mention, Wasteland 3.
And I assume once we play the DLC soon, we will definitely even be higher on it.
Yeah, so, I mean, dude, this Christmas, just kind of actual good, these are good games. These aren't random games we spun. We're like, yo, go out and play this shit. So, that's it, man. We'll spin the wheel again next month, right?
Yeah, we'll spin the wheel 100%. Once January rolls around, we will be spinning that wheel. But until then, you guys get out there and do some work for a change.
Yeah.
Play these 2 games.
Jaron. Bunch of idiots, you know what I mean?
All right, now we're moving on to the FAF. In the FAF, we give you all the news that you don't really need to know, but the news that you might want to find out. It's all that news you see scrolling by on your Twitter feeds, and you're like, do I really want to click on that and give IGN money? No. Come and don't give us money instead.
When you see Avengers and a video game article, and that's the title, it says Avengers, and then you stop reading, we're here to tell you what the rest of that said.
I want you to go to those comments, though, after you hear and just write FAF.
They'll know what I mean.
All right, Caleb, hit us with the first one.
Microfaf.
Xbox dev admits memory budget places restrictions on dynamic backgrounds.
Dude, my memory budget's pretty low too, dog.
It's
I
true.
don't remember what we talked about at the beginning of this podcast.
Dude, you're a forgetful man. But that's not really what this is about, obviously.
Yeah, they added a couple dynamic backgrounds recently. They added a Halo one and a Wasteland 3 one. And they look good. Like, I get he's saying they limit them, what they're capable of doing, but they're still pretty good for dynamic backgrounds. I don't know, what else you want?
Yeah, it's because someone reached out and said that they wanted to put their gameplay captures as their dynamic background, so you could have
Well, Jesus Christ.
You could have kind of a cool clip in the background, and they just said, unfortunately, you'll never see that because full motion video memory isn't enough. We don't allocate enough memory for that.
That sounds about right. Like, I want a fucking 124 frames 4K clip of Halo Infinite playing in the background. Shut the fuck up, idiot.
And that was really all for the Microfaf. There really wasn't much this week.
Yeah, December is usually pretty soft until the Game Awards, and then it's big. So yeah, also, by the way, check back next week. All the Game Awards stuff will be talked about here,
yeah,
I imagine.
Yeah, dude, Caleb, that's like us, soft until the Game Awards.
The next item here is shocking revelations.
BioShock 4's setting and time period have reportedly been leaked, and all of this news comes from Colin Moriarty over at Sacred Symbols during a what is called a Sacred Symbols video that came up this Friday, or I guess last Friday.
Today.
Oh, no, today. It came out today.
As we're recording this, but they'll be listening to it Monday. So our Friday, their Monday.
Okay. So yeah, the Friday that just came, and Colin essentially broke down a bunch of details for what BioShock 4 was going to be, and it will take place during the 1960s in a fictional Antarctic city, which sounds dope. Narratively, the game will be tied to previous BioShock games. It takes place in a 1960s Arctic city called Borealis, Moriarty said. The game is codenamed Parkside. He's been told that the development team has incredible latitude to get it right, and that seems and sounds right to him.
This isn't even faff. It's just here.
Yeah, it's here because we didn't have enough info on it to throw it as an 100% announced thing, because it is just a rumor, and lots of times we throw rumors and leaks in the faff.
Apparently he corroborated it with 2 sources, at least from what I understand. I listen to his podcast every week and he did talk about it, and it's pretty cool because we've been waiting for details for BioShock 4 forever now. And it's weird because Ken Levine, I think, is the writer. He's not working on this game, but the company is publishing his next game.
Oh.
So it's just a whole weird situation over there.
Yeah, I wonder, is it really going to be BioShock 4? I guess because they say it relates to previous games, so
it's supposed to be called BioShock Immortal or whatever the hell the title was.
Okay, well, I liked the other ones, so I'm definitely interested to see where a modern version of BioShock.
Whatever the hell this is, I think they wanted to show some of it at the Game Awards, but I don't think it's gonna be ready now until next E3.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's what he said. He says he's pretty sure it won't be ready for the Game Awards. I think because they had to do a soft reboot of the game during its development. So I think he said E3 next year they should show more. But, be surprised at the Game Awards if they do show more on this BioShock game.
All right. And now for quick quips, where there's only one, Caleb.
Oh, thank God. That means it's you.
A new U.S. bill could ban the use of console scalper bots. And to that I say, Merry fucking Christmas, everybody.
How many do you fucking got him, Jaren? High five. You fucking always get him, dude.
And that is all for the X-Block Podcast, episode 33. If you would like to listen to this podcast outside of where you're listening to it right now, you can head over to Spotify, you can head over to Google Podcasts, you can head over to Apple Podcasts, you can head over to Overcast, or you can head over to anything that Anchor supports. If you're one of the YouTube boys or girls, you can head over to
YouTube, what up?
the X Block Podcast on YouTube. And if you'd like to follow us outside of this podcast, you can head over to Twitter at X Block Podcast. You can head over to Instagram at X Block Podcast. And if you follow those, you will find out when we are streaming like we did on Sunday. All right, Caleb, tell them about the Patreon and the Twitch.
Dude, Twitch is _XBlock, and Jaren just did a stream and you missed it. That's right. It's Monday. He streamed on Sunday. You're an idiot. If you would have been following the freaking _XBlock on Twitch, like I told you, you would have seen it. So now you go check out the VOD on Twitch if it's up, and if it's not, you cry in a corner. After you're done crying in the corner, you hit that follow button or whatever the hell on Twitch, and you see when Jaren goes live next time. So Twitch is _XBlock, or you can go to Patreon, well, not or, and go to patreon.com/xblockpodcast. That's patreon.com/xblockpodcast. If you thought Jaren did but somewhere between awful and phenomenal job, anywhere in the middle of that, just give us, a couple dollars on the Patreons, and then we'll keep doing this podcast forever.
Yeah, that's about it, dude. Tell your family, tell your wife, tell your husband, tell your mom, tell your grandma, tell your grandfather, tell your dog, and then let your dog go and spread it around to the rest of the people.
Come back for the Game Awards.
Yeah, come back for the Game Awards, come back for the Game Awards coverage. Everybody, just tell your friends about the X Block, and tell a bat, because Bat spread something quicker than anything anyone else has ever seen. X Block out.
Thanks for listening to the X Block. New episodes every Monday at 5 a.m.